Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Thursday, July 16th, halfway through July. Already, guys, halfway through the month. So we're looking at the market is kind of showing a little bit of weakness. The ES is just kind of meandering. Hasn't really moved a whole little bit of weakness, but you can see it's not really pulling back a whole lot. NASDAQ, of course, is having a hissy fit again. So it's the NASDAQ is these big techs. This crazy run-ups you had in some of these tech stocks are getting run back a bit. You see Micron is down in the 850s now. Man, that has pulled back quite a bit. There's almost a 50% retracement. I think they traded at 1200 or something, 1250 or something like that as the highest. They're down to 850 now, so that's $400 off. Maybe 30%, 33% down so far. Pretty good, but they made the run-ups has been crazy. So the retracements are equally violent, and it is something to watch. Now, looking at the ES, as you can see, the ES is not behaving a lot better. In the last few days, we have been trading higher. We're holding right now at that 7590, 7600 level, and that's in a pullback. So we are in earnings season. War in the kinetic action in the Middle East is now back to a major combat operation situation. We got all that stuff going on, and just watch for headlines. That's all I can say. Volume-wise, we're going to be. I'm going to check that in a second, but we're in the middle of summer type trading, and it's pretty freaking volatile. You get some nice runs, but the volatility mixed in is just nothing but scary. And the problem with volatility is like, yeah, you can trade it, and you just have to trade with bigger stops and bigger and account for the swings back and forth, because they swing right violently back and forth, and it makes no sense trying to trade the smaller movements if there's too much noise around it. It drowns out the trade altogether. But we got some news coming out this morning about 8:30. We have jobless claims, retail sales, and Philly Fed manufacturing. I think retail sales is the one to watch there. Jobless claims has been pretty steady for a long time now, so expecting that to stay the same. But retail sales is going to give a good idea how the consumer is feeling. And at 10 o'clock, we get housing market and pending home sales. And that's about it for today. Then tomorrow, we get housing starts, import, export, industrial production, consumer sentiment. But that's tomorrow. So we've got news today and tomorrow, 8:30 and 10 o'clock today, though. And I would just start off range bound again, same as before. You can see how the ES has been trying to trade higher. It depends on what NASDAQ is doing. If NASDAQ is going to be showing off a weekday, I think that the ES is going to be under pressure as well. But it's holding up pretty darn good. So I would start range bound. I would watch this lower edge now at the 75.70s, the low of yesterday. If that comes out, I would be more aggressive on the short side on the ES. Otherwise, I would look to buy against the 75.90s, 75.80s, 75.70s for rotations up. And on the way up, looking for shorts against resistance, 7600s, 76.15, 76.30s for rotations back down again. So pretty straightforward. Do we have a shot at making new highs? Maybe. It's the earnings season. As long as earnings comes out good, I think the market's going to have a reason to trade higher. Even if the NASDAQ is like having a crazy rotation or hissy fit, as I call them, right now, it is. We'll see. We look at that in a bit. But so for the ES, they're going to buy that early weakness, sell strength up to the 76.30s, and let's see what happens now. If they back off below that 75.70s, stay on the short side. I would look for a more retracement towards the lower end of the range. And basically, we would on the ES and we would just be trading back into this lower range here, above that 7,500 level. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking about the ES to get started. All right, pretty straightforward, I think. Looking at the NASDAQ, and here's the one which has all the freaking action. We had a little bit of a flush right now. Looks like around 750 here. Looks like an exhaustion. Big move and then a little snapback. We'll see where they go from there. That exhaustion should mark a low. And if it doesn't, that's not a good sign. All right. That exhaustion starts at the beginning of something. Yeah, not so good. But you can see how the NASDAQ has been like all the way back down here to the lower end of the range. So they were up here against the upper edge, 30,000. Now they're heading all the way down to the lower end of the range, around the 250, 250, 260 here. And we'll see. I mean, if they start pushing, they can probe all the way down here to the 29,000 level without me getting too concerned, because it's a lot of range on the Nasdaq. But it's I would look to buy against these lower support areas. A little bit of caution given how violent and volatile Nasdaq is, but yeah, definitely start from the short side when it comes to the Nasdaq. This weakness is a lot worse than you're seeing on the ES. ES is a lot more compressed, not as much range, and not as crazy. So looking at the sell strength on the Nasdaq just to get started against the 470s and the 520s. It starts trading above the 520s. Well, let's make it 580s. So these three levels, above 580s, I would take off the short bias and go back more range bound on this guy. So yes, early on here, looking for shorts against these early resistance areas on a pullback. But as we are down at the lower end of the range, so if their range holds here, we can certainly see a retracement right back up again. So you want to be a little bit cautious. No reason to step in front of the a pullback like that to get short. I would just give it a little bit of room to develop a little retest of some sort before I try to get on that thing. And if it doesn't work, then you're just flat out wrong on it. But right now, it looks like they're trying to push the lows, and so we want to try to stay on the short side at least to get started, and then let's see if this lower support area is going to hold. So looking to buy against support, the 400s here, that's where they're trading right now. I had one pro below it, the 310s, the 260s, the 200s for rotations up. So those are the three levels. Below the 200s, I think we need to start thinking short side of the market a little bit more aggressively. And if they start heading below that, yeah, we can head back down into this low volume area. And that could be pretty gnarly. But I'm not sure I'm going to kind of count on that. If earnings season keeps producing good returns, good earnings, there's no reason for the market really to sell off into that. That feels kind of awkward. I mean, the Nasdaq has been kind of weak here overall. It hasn't been a lot of strength after July. We had a little bit of a pop, but then it's been kind of rotating out of some of these tech stocks. A little bit of profit taking, a little bit of repositioning, I would say. But anyway, so that's how we get started. So the ES, it looks kind of the same, but you see how much less range there is on the ES. So I would start off range bound on the ES, not so much with a bias to the downside. The Nasdaq, I would start with a slight bias to the downside to see how far I want to take that and see if they can push that low. And the Nasdaq may be the one leading us around right now, given the volatility in it. Finally, oil. That's finally bonds. I was thinking bonds. I said oil, but bonds heading lower again. They traded up pretty good yesterday on the news, PPI news, and then they were up to 110, 111.10. Now they're backing off again. So we keep getting little pops when we get these good news. It pops and then retraces, and pops and starts retracing back. So it looks to me like the yields are heading lower, trying to trade lower. The bonds are trading lower, the yields are popping higher. Is what's happening. And as long as yields is going to tend to be stumbling high, then it's going to be an issue to it's going to be a little bit of an issue to the market. I heard a pretty good explanation on it. I think there's a lot of new debt coming to market, and hence, I guess a lot of these investors are looking for higher yields to actually fund that debt. It's that's kind of what's going on with the yields going higher, even if you would expect with the economy and everything going as it is, the yields should have a shot at coming back down a bit. But if you have a lot of debt you want to issue and it's kind of competitive, then you're going to have investors try taking the one with a higher yield. It tends to drive the yields up, but that's more of a supply demand kind of thing. It's not a fundamentally economic issue, but you can argue that why all the debt? Well, they're building data centers, right? They're building all these data centers, and there's a lot of money going into that. That's why a lot of these guys are raising debt, and that's also what's causing most likely this the rates to kind of creep up like this. Anyway, a little sidetrack for you. And if you have a better explanation, yeah, I'll just type it in the room, see what it is. But anyway, so that's the bonds. I would stay on the short side on the bonds. Range bound primarily as usual, but I would favor the short side looking to sell strength up here at the 111s and 111.05s initially for rotations down. And above that one, I would probably take off the short bias and go back more range bound. Looking to buy against the 110.18s and 110.12s for rotations back up. And let's watch what happens. Crypto-wise, cryptos, sloppy stuff going on silver. They're trading a little bit on the downside. They're down to 56 now. You see they're kind of taking that lower. If I try to squeeze it a little bit together, you can see how silver has been kind of moving lower. All right. Same with gold, also down to, it's flirting with the 4,000 level, also heading lower a bit. I remember gold was the darling before. They were the ones. When I'm going to 5,000 and it's going to go to 10,000, and also people buying gold at 4,500 and 5,000 an ounce. And now they're sitting there at 4,000 and it's not going anywhere. So gold is not a quick instrument. That's a slow kind of a trade. So you just have to be very, very patient on that one. Oil's trading at 80 still. So as long as the shooting goes on, oil is going to be on the upside. It's going to have a premium on it. However, though, if you notice, you're not hearing a lot about it. Last time, the first 60 days they were shooting, there was like non-stop news, speculation, all sorts of stuff. This time around, they started exactly the same thing, the major combat operations, but you're not hearing much on the news about it. So that's just they're just grinding these guys to dust, and after a while, we'll see how they leave them. But oil is going to be high until we get some clarity into what's happening there. And Bitcoin 64,000, Ethereum 18,000 or 1,800. Pretty much where we left, a little bit to the downside, but not much going on there. All right. So that's I haven't traded in those recently, but I may want to be a little bit more aggressive on it. I'm kind of working on the new website, so I'm trying to get that launched. It's going to look a little bit better than the one I have, and it's going to be a little bit more focused on converting customers directly on the website. So right now my website is not by any means geared to do that, so a little bit more aggressive on that side, but that's kind of what I'm working on, and I'm trying to get it. It's getting pretty darn close, but I'm trying to get it through. And in addition, yes, so you know, I'm adding in USDC payments, so you can pay with Bitcoin going forward, and there's an option for prepayment. So you can, if you want to, if you don't have a recurring credit card on file or anything like that, you can prepay for 3 months and then just turn you off when the time runs out. You can have to keep prepaying forward like that. That's a new option I'm going to add in there. But also things I'm working on, so that's why I haven't been super aggressive on some of the trading. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it there for now. So good trading, and so ES range bound, Nasdaq starts with a slight bias to the downside, bond market slight bias to the downside, and let's see how this develops. So news coming out in about 10. I'm gonna go get some coffee. All right, guys, good trading. I'll see you guys back then. Later.